So let's talk a little bit about engaging your target. How do you get these guys and gals to raise their hand, to self-identify, to say yes, you have the practice that I want to go to. And I think, I used to talk about, if you followed me I probably haven't used this expression in 5 years, but I'm gonna pull it out here tonight. Years and years ago, I had a concept I talk about as having a wee-wee problem. And some dentists have a big wee-wee problem, and others just have a little one. And some don't have any wee-wee problem at all. And it's all about we this and we that. And is it really all about you, or is it about them? And this is the same for your team. It's the same for your patients. Most all job ads that we go look at, and we're going to look at a few of them here in a few minutes, they outline what the practice is looking for, right? I need an assistant that can do X, Y, Z. And they're focused on the wrong thing, right? If I put an ad out on Match.com and said, I'm looking for a woman that can cook me dinner and clean my house, what kind of woman do you think is going to come put up with me if that's my outlook in my Match.com listing? Somebody one of them just might come shoot me. That might be the outcome that happens if I posted something like that. So, you don't see this happen in any other courtship, right? Nobody posts something like that. And if they do, it probably ends up going viral on social media, and that's not what you want. You don't want your job posting going viral because you were looking for a spouse that would cook and clean for you. That's not the right impression of you and your practice. How are you going to find the highly motivated team players that are self-driven, that are A players for your practice, that share the same values, that are looking for the same kind of promise that you're offering? And how can you also get the mediocre players to self-identify that they're the wrong fit for you? It's just as important when you're writing your job ad to get people to self-identify as it is to get them to self-exclude, right? The faster we can get people to say, no, this isn't right for me. Oh man, I would love for every B player that comes and looks at a job ad I post to think, oh gosh, expectations are going to be too high. There's actually accountability here. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be accountable for producing some kind of outcome or result. Oh, that doesn't sound like what I'm looking for. I'm real happy in my current job, and I don't have it, whatever that is. A players love expectations because they're always striving to be better. A players love accountability because they want you to know Jordan didn't get the ball at the buzzer to make the winning shot because people didn't think he could do it. He was often accountable for that shot to make the win because he was an A player, right? And so were many others. How can you make sure that people know you're looking for the A player and what that A player is? To get the best of the best, your message has to be the best. If you tell me there's nobody in your area that you can hire, what you're really telling me is you're a letter grade below all the other practices, because it's not just about comp. And we've seen this done, right? We've seen studies where they're looking for a job and they offer another $10 an hour, and it doesn't fix their hiring problem because it's not about the $10 an hour, right? Yeah, sure, everybody would love another $10 an hour, but that's not why you're not getting A players, right? If you want to attract the target, you've got to have a tailored message speaking exactly to them. Who's your target, and how are you going to get them to stand up and say, that's me? What are the critical things they're looking for? Work-life balance, right? Benefits, culture, accountability, opportunity. All these things exist. And when you look at the surveys of employees, they're not looking for salary. Salary is fourth or fifth or sixth down the list of the top things employees want. Recognition is big, especially for a lot of younger people in the job space right now. They're looking for recognition, right? More so than an older generation is. How do we deliver that? I'd rather give recognition all day long than pay another $5 an hour. A plaque on the wall and a pizza party is a lot cheaper than $5 an hour for the rest of your employment. So let's just go do it, right? And I know I'm being a little patronizing there saying it like that, but I'm just trying to make the point that it's not always about just offering more money. You've got to be able to pay enough to retain the A player, because an A player knows what they're worth. But that's not the only reason they're going to come work for you. So how are you going to attract great talent? We went out to some job posting boards yesterday and we grabbed a few screenshots. And we're looking, so if I am a dental assistant and I'm looking for my next home, maybe it's a job job, maybe it's my forever job, maybe it's somewhere in between, who knows? I'm looking for a dental assisting job. And I went out and did a search. And you know what? This screen goes on and on and on. I could show you the rest of it, but it's all about the same. And which one of these am I going to look at? Which one of these, pretend that you're a dental assistant, which one of these are you going to look at? Right? What's the first one say? Right? Dental assistant at a kid's dental center. Next one, dental assistant. Next one, dental assistant at another kid's dentistry. Dental assistant for an oral surgery practice. Next one down that you can't see, clinical dental assistant. I'm going to fall asleep. If I had to go through all these, I'd probably fall asleep. And that's the same thing. If your job posting is blending in like all this, the A players are just browsing over you. They're not clicking to look. They're not looking at every job posting here to see if the second impression is different than the first impression. The title of your ad here is the first impression. If you've made a bland first impression, you're not going to get a second, right? They're just scrolling down. Same way in your practice. If your first impression with your patients is poor, you're not getting a second opportunity. If your staff doesn't answer the phone the first time a new patient calls, they're not going to leave a message and say, oh, please call me back. Oh, please call me back. No, that's not going to happen. If you didn't answer, they're going right down the list to the next practice, or they're not going to call anybody, right? And that's what happens a lot of time we see with patients is they may have a practice that looks like it's a match for them, and then they reach out and you don't answer the phones, and they go, oh, man, well, I guess I need to go back to the drawing board, right? Same way with A players. They may look at you on the outside. Let's say you've got a great promise, great recruiting system, and then they reach out to you and you don't respond to their email for 2 weeks. Oh, well, who knows? Now they got doubt in their mind. They're wondering, why didn't this guy respond to my email in 2 weeks, right? How are we going to grab their attention with a headline? We need to stand out from the rest. We need to be uber clear about what it is we're trying to do. Who do we want to attract? If you're looking for team members who are looking for a fast-paced growth environment, tell them we're looking for a dental assistant at a fast-growing and team-oriented practice, right? And let's just go say exactly who we are, exactly what we're looking for, and exactly who's a good fit. And I'm even going to take this a step further. I love job ads that tell who's not a good fit, right? Let's not only do we want to color in what we want, but let's show them exactly what we don't want too. If you're not into accountability, if you're not into, producing a result and an outcome, if you just want to check the box, you want to come in and make your widgets and check the box and clock out at 4:59 p.m. this job isn't for you. I love seeing that. And that tells the A player what it's all about. We're about having a great work-life balance, but when we are at the office, we crush it. And I think the more colorful and the more clearly you can illustrate for your potential hires exactly what you're about, the better people you're going to get that are aligned to exactly what you're doing. You're going to get more clicks on a job posting like this, telling people we're a fast-growing, team-oriented practice, because that's exactly what they're looking for. Remember, if you're looking for A players, and A players to you are fast-growing and team-focused, you got to get people, right? The doctor down the road may have A players that are not into fast growth and team-oriented, and that's okay. It just doesn't fit what you're doing, right? Lazy candidates who just want a paycheck are going to be repelled by this. That actually may be a little judgmental, right? It's not necessarily fair to call them lazy. They're just not an A player for what we're trying to do. They'd be a great fit at kind of a maintenance mode, churn. Hey, I'm just going to show up and do my thing. And if that's what the doctor's doing, then he's got A players that are super aligned to what he's trying to do. He's the visionary. If all he wants to do is sit at the same thing and do the same thing year after year, and he has a team that's into that too, super aligned. He's got a team of A players. The minute one of those, right, like the Patriots example, the minute they switch teams, all of a sudden they go from an A player to a C player because it's all about the fit, right? Make sure the fit is good.
And if I can nerd out on that just a little bit, with the practices where we've installed this, you are going to get more clicks strictly because you're different. People are going to wonder, well, what is this open position that's different than every other? Click. I want to check this out. So not only you're going to get higher quantity, but as Colin said, you're also going to get higher quality. You're going to get more people that fit your practice just because you're standing out. Now, I can tell you guys there are other industries out there that I've done research on that are further along in this recruiting game, where this is more of the norm. But with this industry, this is so different than what anybody else is doing. You're going to separate yourself out in the labor division in the market that you're in such a powerful way if you take advantage of these tactics.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the reality is, I said a second ago, your first impression is it. You're not going to get a second chance. I think most of the job postings I see, the way they created their job posting was to go search and copy and paste.
That's right.
And you end up with 1,000 job postings that are the same thing. And we're not buying Snickers bars that they all look the same in the store. We're trying to find the right people to go into the right practice to attract the right patients. And when we can get those 3 P's aligned, that's when we have success in the middle. If we got the wrong people in the practice, it just doesn't work. It's every time I go out and I'm looking in a job area or I'm helping a client with something, and I go out and Google hygienist, assistant, whatever it is, you'll see 5 postings and they look like literally they've just been copy and pasted. And it's no wonder they're not getting any A players. I mean, why? If somebody's already employed at one of them, why would they want to leave and go work at a job that the job description's the same? They're already employed. They don't need another job, right? So you've got to create a uniqueness. Why? Answer that. If you can answer that, you're probably starting off on in a good direction. What's the avatar? What's the culture? And let's repel the rest, right? Let's say what we're not about. Emotion is a critically important part of getting all human beings to take action. The intro to a job, the ad, you've got to have a great title and a great intro to the job to build up some emotion. The intro to a job that has consistently outperformed all the others, has a great title and a great intro. I mean, literally, you can see a 30 or 40% lift just from adding a sentence or two intro at the beginning. Not only are you getting a boatload more applicants, you're going to get more of the right people, right? And that's what this is all about. And you've got to keep them engaged throughout. What happens right after they submit a job posting? How are you going to continue to build on the uniqueness and the culture? Well, how about a 2-minute video about the culture of your practice and how you're fast growth and how you have a team-driven, team-focused environment and all the qualities, all the marketable attributes of what you're trying to do here, right? This is super easy to put together. You don't need to go spend $15,000 on video production to put a 2-minute video together about how your culture is unique. This is super simple to do. And drive them to this page after they submit a resume. And this will give them that understanding and continue the momentum. This is all momentum, right? How are you going to engage them? If you're big into culture, some practices are. Core values are a great way to engage people and get them excited. What are you about? How do we unpack this from your head? Every dentist has core values in their head. Everybody. Right? How do we just unpack them and codify them? Be clear about the critical characteristics of who you want on your team. Who are the A players? Who's not a good fit? Let's just be real outward about who's not a good fit. A lot of times that disqualification will resonate. A players don't want to be on a team with B players, right? Michael Jordan is not down with being on a team that sucks. He's not into it. He wants to win championship rings. And if you have an A player that's looking to build a bigger, better future, have upward momentum, the ability to earn more so that they can take better care of their family, to excel and further their own career, they're not into being on a team with a bunch of B players and a B player dentist. And remember, that doesn't mean that they're just a B grade in life and they're a terrible person. It just means they're not aligned. The dentist that's into maintenance mode and the employee that are into growth mode are going to be like oil and water, and vice versa. The dentist that's into growth mode and the employee that's in maintenance mode are going to be oil and water, and they're just going to butt heads. A players just means you're in lockstep. You're in alignment. That's what all this comes down to. People are not knowingly going to put themselves in a position to fail. I'm going to say that again. People are not knowingly going to put themselves in a position to fail. You've got to be clear. As the owner of the business, you've got to bear the burden of any complexity or ambiguity. And you've got to be clear about what it takes to be successful in your practice. I've got a document that I give out to anybody new that I hire at SmartBox. And it's called Collins Rules of the Game. And it's how I work and it's how I function. And my rules of the game are going to be a little bit different than your rules of the game. But the more clearly we can outline exactly what are the rules, right? You make the rules, it's your practice. If you don't like how the game is being played, you get to change the rules. And that's the beauty of all this. It's your practice. You should always be winning because you not only play the game, but you get to set the rules. So just make the rules favorable to what you want to do and get the right people there in the practice.